beautiful souls. It's Robin, and you're listening to the Live Life Balance podcast. I'm so excited that you dropped by today, prioritizing you and your wellness. This podcast is for my empty nester mamas, women who are getting close to this new chapter, who have dipped one toe in, or who are fully embracing this new phase. This is for the mamas who are ready to take back their health, to live their best lives. If you're looking for an authentic, supportive community, you're definitely in the right place. It's a space for us to learn how to prioritize ourselves again. I'll be your guide, pointing you to ideas and tools that you can experiment with to see what feels good for you. You'll also hear guests talking about their journeys and what's worked for them. Together, we're going to learn how to use the 1% shift method to create little shifts and habits that, who knows, maybe become your non-negotiables to feel your best. By feeling our best, we can show up in our purpose and live the most joyful life, even in the challenging times. And boy, this new chapter can seem challenging, but I can assure you we're not alone. Some of the topics we're going to talk about are self-love, self-care, nutrition, daily toxins, food swaps, mindset, and reframing our thoughts. I hope you leave each time feeling a little more empowered and at ease to take a step or two that will allow you to shine. Are you ready? If you said yes, take a nice deep breath and say, I am ready. Now let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the Live Life Balance podcast. I'm Robin Jonas and I'm your host, and I am excited to be here today to bring you a solo episode. So far this season, in season 2, we've done all interviews, which I've absolutely been loving doing because I love meeting these people and learning from them. And whenever I bring someone on the show, I always keep you guys in mind and try and find people that I think have information or knowledge or experience or a story that would resonate with you, that might bring you something for you to try on and perhaps become part of your 1% shifts that you make as you grow in your health journey. Today, I wanted to kind of pivot just a minute, and I've been getting a lot of texts or emails or DMs from people asking, where do I start? How do I get started? Is this food healthy? Should I be on this diet? What are some good swaps for this? And it just got me thinking that, where I started on my journey was in a place where I felt a lot of overwhelm. And just to give you guys a little backstory, when we had moved to Michigan, it was just me, Darren, and Delaney. And Darren worked a lot. And so it exercise so that I could myself. They also had a spa there and a salon and a hair place. So I would get my hair done there. At least that was all of my intentions of why I originally joined. But unfortunately, Delaney didn't like the play area. And so it was more stress. So I ended up really only going when Darren was home, where, I could leave her with him. But there was this thing that was posted, and it said if you took 2 health classes that you would be eligible to receive any spa treatment, up to a certain amount of, dollars. And I was like, well, sign me up. I was like, because that meant that I was going to have a spa treatment. That meant I was going to learn something. And I also got a little bit of time to myself. And so I went and I did these 2 classes, and little did I know how much it would actually change the whole trajectory of my life. As I sat in one of the classes, there was this gentleman, and for the life of me, I can't remember his name, but I can picture him. And he was standing up there and he was just kind of educating on, movement and exercise. And then he kind of started to dive into some food stuff. And he was talking about hydrogenated oils or partially hydrogenated oils. He was talking about high fructose corn syrup. And as I sat there and I was listening to him, I was just, being educated on something that I really had no clue about and couldn't really understand why those products would even be in our food industry to begin with. However, they are. And so when he explained what they do to our system and how, it wreaks havoc and, long term and all the other things, when I got home, I was, of course, a little bit frantic. And so I went into our pantry. Again, we had a 1-year-old at this time who was eating fruit snacks and goldfish and, all the little crackers and all the little whatever, I don't know, whatever you give to 1-year-olds. And so I started to look at all of the ingredients, and just kept putting on the counter everything that had natural flavor or partially hydrogenated oils or the high fructose corn syrup, food dyes. And so, just a couple of things that he had mentioned. I just wanted to get curious to see like what it is that we were eating. And basically, my whole counter was filled with snacks and food and um, pantry items that all had that stuff in it. And I was kind of shocked. And then I was like, oh my gosh, what are we going to eat? And so that is where my journey started as far as my what I call my food awakening, as to like really needing to understand label reading and ingredient reading. And I really didn't have any resources. So it was a little bit overwhelming. I had to really talk myself off the ledge several times, moderation, keep things simple, don't overwhelm yourself. But for the last 20 years, basically what I have been doing is very slowly building and swapping and iterating as I've learned. And, you know, I think that there's always a learning curve to everything. And I think it's a continual process because new companies come up with things, old companies sell out. And so it's just being mindful of kind of what is happening in our food industry. And I think most of you would probably be quite shocked to know some of the things that actually happen behind the scenes. So one of the things I wanted to start with today was, again, just mentioning primary foods and secondary foods. And you know that I always talk a lot about the primary side of things because without having a balance in our primary foods, which is everything off of our plate that actually feeds our health and wellness, which are things like career, finances, relationships, where you find joy, movement, home cooking, home environment, your vibration, your stress levels, stress management. There's all the things that we can do, um, that we need to do to keep in balance in order for us to live our healthiest lives. And so those are called primary foods. But then there's the secondary foods. And secondary foods is everything that we ingest, things that we put into our body, how we fuel our body, what we're eating, what we're drinking. That is another component of health and wellness. And so together, when we mix the primary and the secondary together, that's how we get complete wellness. And that's when you look at your wellness from a holistic perspective, that is what we're talking about. We talk about the whole person, not just parts and pieces and different organs and things like that. So just wanted to put that back out there because I have mentioned it before, but in case anybody had not listened to that episode, I wanted to make sure that we were clear on kind of the difference between the two. And when people reach out to me and they ask me, is this food healthy? It's low in calories, or it has no sugar, or, it says it's healthy. My first question to everybody is, what is the actual ingredients? Because what we see on the front is not usually what we get in the box or in the package. If you go to the produce section and you pick up broccoli or you pick up carrots and you look at the ingredients, well, they should just say carrots or they should just say broccoli because that is a whole food. When we get into, things that have been pre-made for us, whether it's healthy or not, when you pre-make something, it's a variety of things combined together. And so we need to understand when we're looking at the ingredient labels what we're reading. And so it doesn't matter to me so much to begin with what the calories are, what the carbs are, what the sugar is, what the protein, because if the ingredients within the product has things that are not clean, then it doesn't even make sense. The values don't even matter to me because if it has partially hydrogenated oils, I'm not going to buy that. I'm not going to spend my money on something that I know could cause inflammation in my body. Again, everybody's different, everybody's bio-individual, but we know certain facts for everybody. And when you have inflammatory oils and other things that inflame your body chronically over time, the more you ingest, the lower chronic inflammation one can have. And so where you can make the tweaks, where you can make choices, that's the balance. If you're going out and you're eating somewhere and you don't have control and you eat something, that's kind of, to me, the moderation. But if you have control in your home or picking places where you're going to go eat where you know is a healthier option, those are things that we actually can control. And so we have to control the controllable and we have to avoid the controllable things that we can't. And then the unavoidable things, we just have to take that into moderation and into consideration when we are faced with a choice. So again, if someone asks me, is something healthy? Is this truly organic? Is this truly natural? Is this, is this claim on the front correct? My go-to is always and will always be, what are the ingredients in the product? And so when they start to read those ingredients to me, if the list is 10 miles long, that's a first red flag for me, just at a glance. If there's tons and tons of ingredients, if you are to think back to when you bake something in your kitchen, or when your grandmother baked something, or your mom baked something in your kitchen, she didn't have 22 things sitting on the counter. She had, a handful of things that were put together to make a sweet or make a recipe. And so that is the first red flag for me, is when there's tons of ingredients listed. The second red flag would be words that you can't pronounce. If you can't pronounce it, I encourage you, I invite you to investigate, what are these words? What do they actually mean? And if you can't pronounce them, I would also then ask you, is this something you could go to the store and purchase? So for example, food dyes. Aside from, going to the bakery section where you want to tint, I guess, a cake frosting or something like that, that would be the only place in which, you would find food coloring, if you will. But food dyes, you don't go to a store and buy food dyes. Though that is something that is actually made in a laboratory. And I wanted to tell you guys that when they're made in a laboratory, they're, it's combined with chemical things to make them a certain color. You would be surprised in some of the foods that are, let's say, white, like the color of the food is white, and they have red dye in them. And so it's like, how or why would you have red dye in something and the product be a white color? So those are things that just kind of make me scratch my head a little bit, and I don't understand. And I'm obviously not in a lab making food. So perhaps one day I can get a tour on one of those behind the scenes so I can get more information. So dyes are something that is a non-negotiable for us. Something else in the ingredient label that is a red flag for me is natural flavors or natural flavoring, because it is defined by the FDA as a substance that's extracted, distilled, or similarly derived from a natural source, like a plant, which could be fruit, herbs, veggies, bark, roots, etc. But it is not actually the fruit. So if it says strawberry natural flavor, it's not really strawberries that are being used. It is something that is being extracted from the source, but then it's being intensified to give a flavor that makes us want to come back for more. And in one of the episodes I did earlier on the season with Parker Brooks from Lovebird Cereal, he actually was in the big food industry before leaving it and starting his own healthier cereal company. And he did get a behind the scenes for natural flavors, and he talks about it in the episode. So if you're curious, you might want to go listen to that episode and get some education, because that was enlightening for me as well. So again, so red flags so far, we have long words, lots of ingredients, dyes, and natural flavors or natural flavorings. Obviously, there are other ones, but I guess my whole thing in saying all of this is, when you look at a label, if you don't know the words, I invite you to look them up and see exactly what they are, because it's important. You should be educated, and you should know what you're putting into your body and why they are put in a food package. So like I was saying earlier, when I first got started, I was overwhelmed. And I know that when anybody starts something new, it can be overwhelming. And so my role as a health coach and somebody who really cares about people and trying to help them make small shifts is to take away some of that overwhelm where I can. And so one of the things that I wish that I would have had that I didn't have was a listing of some food staples, things for my pantry, things for my refrigerator, things to avoid, how to read a label. And so I went ahead and I created something for you guys just called Food Staples. It's going to be a PDF that you guys can download. from the show notes. If it's something that you would like to check out, it gives swaps, it gives different snack ideas. It lists out different ideas for protein and fruits and veggies and beans and nuts and, condiments. And then it gives different brands that I've learned about over the years. We talk about bread swaps. There's some tips and some tools in there. Also, what to avoid. One of the big things that we also talk about when reading ingredients is sugar, of course. And so there's a whole page on all different words that have been created and different products that have been created to either take the place of sugar or or are a sweetener of some sort. One thing I wanted to educate you guys on is that when you're looking at the back of a food label, they now break out the sugar. And so there's two little lines for sugar, and there's a total number of sugars, and then there's added sugars. I primarily look at the added sugars because typically if it's a natural sugar like strawberry, let's say, or an apple, it is going to be higher in sugar because that food naturally has a higher sugar level in it. However, when you get to the added sugars, those are things that are mostly processed sugars. And so we want to keep those on the lower end. And just to give you guys a visual, 1 gram of sugar is equal to a fourth of a teaspoon of granular sugar, like white sugar table sugar that you would, have in your home. And so if you think about it, 4 grams of sugar equals 1 teaspoon. So if you have a drink that has 40 grams of sugar, which is not hard to do if you're going and getting, our favorite drinks, holiday drinks, they're a lot more than 40, but I'm just using for ease of math. If it has 40, grams of sugar, it has 10 teaspoons of sugar. And so go home and do a little experiment. Take out sugar, get your teaspoon and put 10 in. If you have a drink and you're curious, look up how many grams of sugar it has, and then look at the visual of how much sugar you're getting in that one drink that you have most likely at the beginning of your day. And, think about ways that you might be able to cut that down. Maybe you only drink half of it. Maybe you trade out that drink for a different drink. So I think the biggest thing is awareness, becoming aware of what you're actually ingesting and what it is that is in your food is the first step to making change. You can't make change if you're unaware of whatever it is that you're eating. Also, one of the things I get is, where do we start? How do I get started? This seems so overwhelming. And so I go back to the 1% shift method that I've created to take away, again, that overwhelm for you. We are not going to recreate our entire pantry, our entire kitchen, our entire food system for our family overnight. It's just not possible. So to take some of that off of you and to alleviate some of that stress, using the 1% shift method, some of the things that I would encourage you to do is look in your pantry, take out some of the stuff, examine it, see if it's something you want to keep on rotation, see if it's something that you want to out, and mark it with a Sharpie. Make a little space in your pantry for things that you no longer, want to have in your home. Use up what you have, and while you're using that up, research and find swaps. And again, this food guide that I'm giving you has swaps for a lot of things and also brand suggestions. One of the things I want to let you know is that this document will continue to be iterated because as new companies create things, as more people get on board and start, creating foods that are cleaner, we're always going to have things to add. And I think that's amazing. 10 years ago, there wasn't a lot of stuff. And now I feel like there are a lot of options to help us to keep our lives simple. Once you know what you want to swap out, we're going to find swaps. And then you're just going to swap one thing at a time. If you want to start maybe with, I don't know, cereals, let's just say you guys are cereal eaters, look at your cereals, see what you see. If you don't like what you see, let's find some alternatives. Let's swap them out. And there are definitely ones out there. If you are an oatmeal person, there's a lot of buzz around oats right now, being toxic and the way that they're grown and using gluten-free. And yes, gluten-free is great. But really what you want to eat the cleanest oats, you want it on the front of the package. It will also say glyphosate free. There is a brand it's called the Farmers We Know, I think. And they have a glyphosate-free oatmeal, or just oats, I guess, that you can create into oatmeal or overnight oats that are really tasty. So that will be in the document also if you guys are curious and want to check that out. Again, starting slowly, one thing at a time, becoming aware of what you want to change. And also, before you go on this journey, really sit down and become intentional. What are your intentions behind doing this? What are your whys? What are you trying to accomplish? When you can articulate what you're trying to accomplish, whether it's ridding or quieting down disease, whether it's getting rid of something that you currently have, whether it's creating a life for your children that they have a better stepping off point than maybe we did. If you're trying to lose weight, whatever your goals are, you have to get intentional with them so that you speak them aloud, you know what they are. And then as you're going through these changes, when overwhelm comes, you can talk to yourself and say, I'm doing this because of X, Y, and Z. However, I don't have to be perfect. I can give myself grace. I can't find something that I can swap for this. And so I'm going to reach out and I'm going to ask. But in the meantime, I'm just going to use it and I'll do better the next time. So I just think it's, again, putting intention where you want it to be, becoming aware of what it is you want to do, and then those gradual steps will kind of just fall into place. My daughter said this one day while we were walking, and it really resonated with me, and I think and hope that it will resonate with you too. But she said, as I've gone on this journey this year, kind of at my own free will, because she did make a choice this year without us, guiding her to make some changes and to do some things that are, making her body feel her best. But she said, if you fill your pantry and your refrigerator with mostly whole foods and cleaner options, it isn't as big of a challenge to eat well. It's when we are out that she finds it to be somewhat challenging. But honestly, this year she has built an intention around eating more, places that serve her. And so is she perfect all the time? Absolutely not. Does she still love a Starbucks now and again? Yes. Does she still love a Chick-fil-A now and again? Yes. It's just not something that's her go-to every single time. She has found different places in our area where she can go and have something that she feels like is, filled with cleaner food that makes her feel better and gives her the energy that she's looking for. So again, if you fill your pantry and refrigerator with mostly whole foods and cleaner options, it is not as challenging to eat well. So again, build your home in a way that makes you have a sense of ease. How do you do that? So number one, we talked about, reading our labels when we purchase things or before we purchase things or things that we have in our house. That's where I would start with the things in the house that you guys already eat and finding swaps for those. Avoiding certain ingredients. So maybe pick 2 or 3 and put those on your non-negotiables, whether that is natural flavors, whether it's high fructose corn syrup, whether it's dyes. Pick 1 or 2 or 3 of those and then just start with those as a non-negotiable and see how many items, that you have in your home or that you go to pick up at the grocery store that have those in them. And then that will kind of start, again, that'll be your first step on your journey to creating a different, pantry in your home or a different refrigerator in your home. And then creating new staples. So for example, we used to do like celery with peanut butter, or we did like apple and peanut butter. And so all we did was just swap out peanut butter for nut butter for different reasons. Darren has a sensitivity to nuts now, and Ansley, and Aunt Delaney and I, we just don't eat peanut butter. We like to have almond butter. So we just kind of swap that out. And so again, it's not really like we feel deprived because we're still having stuff. It's just that we've just made the decision that this works better for us. So again, it's one size does not fit all. Everybody's bio individual. Even within your family, you're going to find things that work for one family member that doesn't work for the other, and that's okay. So it's just knowing what your options are for each of the people in your family and then allowing them to do what's best for them. Let's see. So reading your labels, swapping the things that you eat the most of. So that's another way to kind of get started. So if you're somebody that every day you like to have crackers with your lunch, let's just say, um, crackers, there's a lot of crackers that are really clean and there's a lot of crackers that really aren't clean. And so you're going to want to investigate, see what crackers you're eating, see what ingredients are in the crackers, and then find different swaps that will fill that same cracker need. We never want you to feel restricted. We never want you to feel lack of, especially when there are other options out there. And then just find a cleaner one that works for you. The reason I talk about what you eat a lot is because when you're ingesting something over and over and over, the most of, you want that to be the cleanest version of that particular product. So again, reading your labels, swapping the thing that you eat the most, and then creating new staples. So every time I grocery shop every week for myself, I have a staple list. And that includes different kinds of vegetables that I can cut up and have prepped, different fruits. I always have green apples on hand, lemons and limes, and then kind of whatever seasonally, that's how I fill in. I really like to have like blueberries, raspberries, because I know they're high in antioxidants. So those are things that are just kind of on my go-to. For protein every week, I always get chicken, I get beef, I always have eggs on hand. I'll do lentils. So those are always on the rotation. And then every once in a while, I'll throw in something. Maybe I'll make, pulled pork. Oh, we also eat salmon every week. So I have certain things. And that was another thing that I wanted to mention to you guys. When you are creating a new pantry, when you are creating like what your new refrigerator is going to kind of evolve into, another way to cut down on the overwhelm is to create like 5 standard dinners, something that everybody in your family or most people in your family will enjoy. And so for us, we always do tacos, we always have salmon, we always do burgers, turkey burgers, we might do breakfast one night because we really all love breakfast. And so those are kind of like on our staple rotation. And then every once in a while, again, like I said, I'll pull in something different. We always have 4 or 5 options for breakfast, whether it's a different kind of toast or eggs or oatmeal or overnight oats or chia pudding. And so those are kind of our go-tos. And then lunch, we make up, different things. So I would say if you could come up with 3 to 5 different meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then rotate new stuff in, that would be helpful because again, you'll be making things that you don't have to think a lot about. They'll just become more natural. Some of the tools that I really like in the kitchen that make life for me a lot easier is the Instapot, the air fryer, steaming vegetables, making sheet pans of vegetables. I can't tell you how far that goes. You just throw a bunch of veggies on, you throw them in, the oven. And if you don't have a ton of time, buy cut up ones. If you're somebody who likes to prep, then chop it all up and, put them in the oven and roast them and have them for the week. And you can combine those into breakfast, lunch, or dinner. We always make sweet potatoes in the Instapot and it's just super easy. And then I have those during the week. So again, it's little things that I've created that are my staples, and you'll create your own staples depending on what your family actually, really enjoys. And after that, I use for my resources, I like to use Pinterest. I do have some Pinterest boards. So if you guys are interested, you can go look on those boards. I like Pinterest in general when I'm just kind of Googling. But another website that I really, really like is called Downshiftology. And I'll put that in the show notes as well. But in that particular website, she breaks it down in so many different ways. So she has Mediterranean, she has keto, she has Whole30, she's got, I don't know, a bunch of different ways of eating. And then she even breaks it down as dairy free or gluten free, vegan. So she really took the time, and it's an amazing and very robust website. So if you're looking for things specifically, if you're having to do an elimination diet and you're not allowed to have X, Y, and Z for a little bit of time, and you don't know, again, where to start, Downshiftology is a great website to use as a resource. So hopefully, with all that being said, you guys are not too overwhelmed with what I have given you. But I just thought it was an important topic to kind of put out there because everybody has a pantry and everybody has a refrigerator, and everybody who wants better health has to start somewhere. And so starting with the basics at home is really a good way to start. If you're somebody that's just dabbling and just taking the first step, start slowly. If you're somebody who's seasoned, who's still, just iterating over all the time, this is a good resource to just check against, to go and see, is there anything on this list that maybe I haven't thought of? Is there something, in my pantry that, maybe I have, maybe haven't realized that it has something in it that I might not, really want to be ingesting. So again, this is not the end all be all. What I do is not, perfect. I'm always iterating, always learning from you guys. So if you guys have something that you would like to share, a recipe or some type of product that you like, or a company that you really like that you support, because again, it's up to us to vote with our dollars. When we buy things that are processed, those companies are going to keep creating those products. When we spend our money on cleaner, smaller companies that are doing right by us, then those bigger companies will eventually have to pivot. It's going to take a lot of us to do that, but I know that we can. If you guys don't follow Food Babe, her name is Bonnie, True Bonnie is her brand, but she started out, she's known as the Food Babe, and she goes into different fast food chains and she disrupts their stuff. And one of the things that always stands out to me was her first experience going to Chipotle, and one of their billboards was something about how their food was really clean and healthy and whatever. And she ended up looking at the ingredients of the food and finding out otherwise. And so she went to their corporate and she was making a stink. She put it out on her blog actually, and she didn't have a huge following at that time, but she wrote up something because she was really angry because she had put her trust and faith in this company who said that their food was a certain way. And then she found out otherwise. And so they told her to take it down. And she told them that she would take down the blog post once they took down their inaccurate information, that they shouldn't have marketing that was selling to us in a way that was untruthful. And so, after a little bit of time, they ended up taking that marketing down and switching it over to be a little more truthful than what they had put out in the first place. So she's definitely somebody who advocates for change. She's now has her own product line, and some of her food is really good. She has protein powder. She's got some bars. She's got deodorant. She's got a little bit of a few different things. So check her out. Her name is Food Babe, and her product name is Truvani. I'll put that also, well, it is in the guide already. So again, how can you get this guide? You can go into the show notes of this particular episode, and at the bottom you'll be able to click and it will download to your computer or your phone. It'll be put in a PDF because that can be seen on your phone as well as your computer. Print it out, put it in your pantry, take snapshots of it, keep it on your phone. Anything that you can do that can help you shop in a way that's going to create more ease for you is what this is all about. So again, I appreciate you guys so much. I love that we get to come together on a weekly basis and you guys get to learn a thing or two. I get to learn a thing or two from other people, which I absolutely love. And I hope that you guys continue to find value in what I'm putting out there. If you guys have any suggestions on topics that you would like to hear about, or if you come across somebody that you think is in my wheelhouse of people and would like to hear an interview with them, please send that on to me, because I'm always searching for good people to talk to, people that have something to tell and to talk about and content that we can all learn from. So again, I really appreciate you guys. I hope that you guys have a fabulous week, and I can't wait to talk to you all soon. Have a good day. Bye. Thanks for tuning in today. I loved being here with you. I hope that you got something from today's episode. I'd love to hear what resonated with you. Drop a comment below, and if you feel led to, download the episode and share it with someone you love that needs to hear this message. As we continue to spread the goodness of this podcast, I'd love for you to help us by leaving a review on Apple Podcast or a rate on Spotify. As we increase listeners, we will come up more often when women are searching for podcasts to listen to. To To stay connected with me, you can check out my social media pages at Live Life Balanced with Robin. You can check out my website at livelifebalancedwithrobin.com. You can book a discovery call. And if you're looking for a way to get started right now, you can opt in for my new quick guide for the empty nester refresh. You can join my waitlist for my new course, It's Your Time, which is going to be launching soon, which I'm super excited about. And as always, thank you for letting me be part of your day. It truly means a lot that you're allowing me to be on your wellness journey with you. Until next time, find peace, love, and light by breathing, being present, and allowing for all possibilities to happen.